Okay, hello Chummers. This is part 3 of my Chummer little tutorial video series here. And like I said last time, what I'm going to do is start a character and then take you through the various screens that are present in Chummer 5. So, Chummer has two modes, as I've mentioned previously. There's creation mode, where you're going to create your character, and then there's career mode, which is what you're going to use on a session-to-session basis to play the game. And they work differently, so we're going to start with the creation mode. So, going to be recreating a character that I played in a previous campaign, the socially incompetent infiltrator adept named Cypher. For Cypher, Adept Powers are a must, so we're going to start by picking Magic B. That lets us start with 6 magic for an adept. For metatype, we're going to pick human only, so it's the bottom priority E, but humans start at 2 edge with a maximum of 7, as opposed to starting at 1 with a maximum of 6. So with 1 more point of special attributes, that puts us at 3 edge, which is alright, so I'm okay with that. Next, as an adept, I need my core abilities to be strong, so I'm going to pick attributes A and skills C. And then you can see that it'll kind of switch things around if you pick something that's already been picked. So resources went straight to D, which is where I'll leave it for now. And then I have one more step as an adept. As a mage or a technomancer, you'll want to look at this too. You have your tagged skill, and that's down here. So we want to be pretty good at combat with this character, so I'm going to pick Blades. So for me, for this character, Blades is going to start at 4 instead of 1, which is going to be very helpful for what we're trying to do. So once you have your priority set, you got your meta type selected, you have any skills you're able to tagged, go ahead and hit OK, and then Chummer is going to kick into creation mode. So as you can see, it really takes a second to do that because it's building all of this stuff out for us. So first things I'm going to do is, because I know what I want to call this character, and this is going to help us save the file because it's going to name the file. I'm going to call him Cypher Demo. It would just be Cypher, but he's the demo. So I'm going to hit save. It's going to ask us for a directory. Wait, no, the actual desktop. And we're going to put him in the Chummer server folder in our saves folder. Click save. He's saved. So it does do autosaves. I've tried to load them from an autosave, and it sometimes doesn't really work so well. So do save manually regularly. So when we start off in Chummer, we're going to start off in the common screen. This is the home screen where our qualities and attributes live. On the left we have qualities. These are sort of like talents from Deathwatch. You get 25 karma to start with. As we can see down here on the bottom, we have karma remaining, and then like our total karma spent or gained. So yeah, you get the 25 karma to start with, and then You can use it for all manner of things, but kind of the first up one, because it's on this main screen, and because of their effect on the character, you want to take a look at qualities. And if I click the add quality button, you can see it's a very large list, and this is from many, many books. A lot of them are in the core rulebook, but a lot of them are added in various other supplements. You can see Chrome Flesh, I don't even know what that is, Run Faster, Shadowrun Core Rulebook. A lot of them are also in Run Faster, Data Trails, I think. So they're all over the place. But they're separated into positive and negative, and so you can sort it, which is very helpful. So I just want to get my positive qualities out of the way, and here I want to get my negative qualities added in. You can do some filtering. So I want to, I only have 3 karma left. Is there anything I can get for that? Or I need to spend this much karma in order to do that. Or maybe you're looking to gain an amount of karma. The way this works is for positive qualities, you spend karma. And then for negative qualities, you get karma back in return. So you can spend, you can see it over here on the right. I'll talk more about this area later. But we have positive qualities 0 of 25 and negative qualities 0 of 25. So you can spend 25 karma on positive qualities and then get back 25 karma from negative qualities. That can be pretty cool to go ahead and just load yourself up on qualities, create a very unique character. You don't have to do that. However, that's a maximum, not a minimum. You just have to spend your karma somehow. It doesn't have to be in this way, but these have really significant effects on your character, some more than others, and they have differing costs to sort of show you how big of an impact this is going to be, how good it is, or how bad it's going to be for you, depending on which type it is. For qualities, you can click this button, or it should be selected automatically. So show only qualities I can take. If you turn that off, you're going to see a bunch of ones you should not be able to select. And the main gate for that is whether or not you're a mage or an adept or a technomancer. It'll lock the things you aren't behind this, or if it has some sort of prerequisite that you're not meeting, and the system knows that, it'll turn it off. There's also this metagenic thing. That's kind of what Surge is. These are like mutations. They really have a significant effect on the character, and they make you like a freak. So I wouldn't advise taking these, but if you want that to be a part of your character, you can. But these are locked behind a thing because of that. You shouldn't be able to select them accidentally. And then the final main concern with qualities is that you can't take a negative quality that's going to cancel out a positive quality, or the other way around, and you can't take a negative quality that is never going to come up. So if you're not a hacker and you take something that makes you bad at hacking, well, that's not a negative quality. That's just free karma. So you want to use these to further the character, not just to like absolutely crank your stats. That's a fun result, but a lot of them really do a lot more than that. So backing out, you can see that I'm an adept, so I do have one already. And so some, you can see it's kind of orangish or something like that, and that means it has a note on it. You can right click and hit notes, and you can see the text, but you can color these in different texts. Pretty helpful, so you can kind of separate them out if you want. The system pre-generated this for me. I've noticed that some of the qualities now in Chummer do have their text attached to them. So like for this one, adept, it just goes over some of the basic rules of being an adept. This isn't really a quality, but it's here just listed for your convenience, and some of them will have the text already, or if they don't, you can do that same thing, right-click notes, and you can copy it straight from the book and pop it on here. When you're browsing the qualities, they have the same cool little reference code as everything else. So this is on page 78 of the Shadowrun 5th edition core rulebook. Allergy, there it is. Pretty easy. Here's the table describing all of the options for it. Yeah, so that's qualities. In the middle here, you have your alias, which I pointed out earlier. That's your character's sort of street name. Which is, your cool sort of title that you want all the cool kids to call you. Below this are your attributes. You can see there's space here to buy them with points, and there's space here to buy them with karma. If you get them, close to where you want, but maybe you need another level or two, and something probably just one. Because it gets kind of expensive, you can buy them with karma. Once you've bought something with karma, you can't improve it further with points. So you can see on the right here, we have our number of attribute points remaining. So if I click something up, that goes down. Luckily, in creation mode, you can always shift it back around. So if I do this, but I wanted something else, you can go ahead and bring them back down. But if you spend karma on something, so for instance, if I take agility from 1 to 2, you see that costs 10 karma. It's new rating times 2, or new rating times 5. So taking something from 1 to 2 is a significant karma cost in character generation. And if I really, to buy something to level 6 is 100 karma. So use your points first. Here at the bottom, we have our special attributes. So everyone will have body, agility, reaction, strength, charisma, intuition, logic, willpower, and then edge. Edge is going to look very different for every character. And then if you have magic or resonance, it goes at the very bottom. Because I took magic B for adept, I have 6 magic, and it sets it to 6 automatically. I actually can't improve this. You can see my limits. So I'm a human, so 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Just average Joe across the board. And then in parentheses, you have your augmented limit. So this is stuff from magical buffs, like I'm an adept, or spells, or what it takes its name for is augmentations. So augmentations can also boost these. They're always 4 beyond your your race limit, meta-type limit. So if I increase something to 6 for a human, it can go to 10, but for a troll, that can go to 14 for body, I think, for example. So that's how you become quite literally superhuman. You can jump past it once you increase something all the way to the top. For special attributes, you can see from my meta type that I chose, I got 1 special attribute, and so that's edge. So you can see that attributes doesn't affect edge, and special attributes can only go into edge. So now I got 3, but you can increase your magic or resonance limit by 1 in character creation with some specific tools, and if you do that, you can use a special attribute to raise it to that limit. But if you usually, when you choose magic or resonance, it just sets you to what you chose, and that's just it. Next, we're going to go ahead and look at what's on the right. I've kind of motioned to some of this stuff already. But for the first one, we have our karma summary. So it tells us a lot about creation. This tab actually goes away in career mode. So this is just for here for creation, and it's a quick summary. So if you selected a meta variant, it tells you how much of your karma went to that. It tells you how many attribute points you have remaining. Oh, that's another rule. Look at that. You only so yeah, look at this stuff. It tells you how many special attributes you have remaining, how much karma you spent on positive and negative qualities, how many contact points you've spent or you have remaining, how much you've spent on Nuyen. You can see the formula there, and here's the little tab for it. Every 1 karma you spend on Nuyen gets you 2,000 Nuyen. So you can spend up to 10 for a total extra of 20,000. So if you need a little bit extra and you're flush with karma for some reason, you can do that. We have our skill group points, active skills. That's what we got from our skill priority. Knowledge skills, I think this is based on intelligence or something like that. And then we have a whole bunch more specific things. So if you're a mage, you can see here how much karma you've spent on spells, preparations, rituals, foci, spirits. And then for technomancers, you've got some summary here, how much you spent on martial arts, how much you bought with programs, advanced programs. So it's just, if you're not sure where your karma went and you bought something weird, that's where it'll show up. The next tab looks how it will look in career mode, and this is where a bunch of your derived statistics live. Chummer is really nice, and it crunches the numbers on these for us, so you only need to know where to find them and sort of what they do, not necessarily the math behind them. But if you want to know, you can check it. It's really easy. You just mouse over it. Composure. There we go. So you can see, like, well, I need more composure. So what is that? It's your will plus charisma. But so it tells you a lot. It tells you what your condition track is going to be. This is your health. For some reason, the stun condition track isn't showing up for me, but it'll generate when we do creation. And it should be vaguely similar to your physical condition track. So I think that's why it's, it's based off your will instead of your body. You have your initiative, react plus int, and then this can get modified, and it'll figure that out automatically. If you're magic, you get astral initiative. If you're a hacker man, you get matrix initiative of various types. So AR, cold, hot sim. You see that, hot sim's better than the other ones. Rigor initiative, if you're a vehicle guy, how much, what your highest armor rating is, what your dodge pool is, how much essence you have remaining, your money, your derived statistics here, lift carry, and then a really convenient thing is that you can roll your lift carry test. So let's say I got 3 hits on my lift carry test. You can go, okay, those are my new lift carry limits. It's got your movement on land, it's got your movement for swimming, and then I don't know if you somehow gain wings, but really this is more for spirits or critters, which are the game term for like various enemies and creatures. They have flying movement. So there's also the spell defense tab. It's really complicated and only mages use it, so good luck. We'll talk about that more if somebody plays a mage. Next, moving on to skills, it takes a second to get all the skills. Yeah, this is the most complicated tab in Chummer because skills are the most complicated thing in Shadowrun. During creation, there's a very busy tab, and it's going to be a big part of your character creation, but it gets easier later. On the left, we have skill groups. These increase multiple skills at once, which you have dedicated points for from your skill priority that you selected earlier. When you purchase a skill group, they become tied together. And then when you purchase one individually after that, it breaks the skill group. And you can no longer use it as a skill group. And to break it, there is an additional cost. But it can be worth it if you just want to get everything similar to something to a general level. And then you want to increase one thing in it all the way to max. For example, because I started with a tagged skill and blades, my close combat skill rating, or skill group, is already broken. I can't use my skill group points for this. But I can use it for something else. So if I wanted to get a real solid basis for all of my physical, athletic skills here, I can spend my 2 skill group points on this, and then maybe keep that as a skill group going forward, because if you do the skill group, they're actually discounted. That's why it costs more to break it, because you're getting a discount. So going to break it, you kind of have to go back and pay what you didn't before. A little bit more on the anatomy of the screen. We have, this is just a list of every active skill in the game. It seems like a lot because it is. You want to scroll slow through this because it kind of freaks out a little bit. Sorry, I'm coughing for some reason, so I keep having to mute the mic. But so this is the name. It tells you what type it is. Is it magic? Is it active? Is it passive? Is it combat? But well, these are all the active skills. It has what attribute it's tied to, which results over here. So for instance, my blades is the skill rating of 4 plus my agility, which right now I haven't increased at all. But if I did, that makes your total pool. So when you roll stuff, you just use this number. Don't add your attribute back to it again. It's this total number. In the middle, we buy stuff with points, just like attributes. So I can increase that further. Bring it down. You can also buy stuff with karma. You have to check this box and then do it. Buying with karma locks you out of spending points, so don't do it until the end of character creation. And it is less expensive than the other thing. So, oh well, don't check that box. So if I increase it to 6, so from 5 to 6, that's 10 karma. So that's the skills. In the middle here, this big bar, we have specialties. These are really cool. So you can get a specialty for something. So like my guy's going to be a swords guy, so I'm going to pick swords. Okay. Apparently there's an error while saving the character. Autosaves. So don't trust the autosaves. It probably tried to autosave the literal instant that I did that. So always save your character manually. So you can see now it has this parentheses. That gives me a +2 rating when using swords. So my pool is actually 7, but only with swords. So I'm going to delete that. It goes back. I think that costs 1 skill point to do. Yeah, it does. So for 1 skill point, you get 2 effective skill points if that's something you're actually going to use. You can only have 1 specialty per skill though, so you got to make sure that's what you want. At the bottom, we have knowledge skills. These are just things you know, not things you do, but they're very useful. So like languages go here. So my guy speaks English, because I'm an American. And the first language you add is native. Boom, I speak it perfectly. But let's say this wasn't my native language and my guy learned Sparethiel, which is the elf language. So I got a couple of knowledge skill points. I know some things about it. I know how to speak it. Boom, that gives me a 6 rating in speaking Sparethiel. So so it's not just languages, it's all kinds of things, and this list even is just suggestions. So if you think about something as it reminds you down here, you can just type it in. So say like I don't know, Transformers. I have a very high academic knowledge about Transformers. There you go, you can do it. I'm gonna delete that. And you can also see, if you have a ton of them, you can sort them like up here. Oh, that's what I'll show you. So you can sort things by a lot of different ways. I was sorting them by skill groups earlier. You can sort them by attribute. The best one, easily, is to sort them by active skill rating over 0. Right now, because I haven't done anything, all I have is blades. If you do nothing on a normal character, you'll just have nothing here. But with this adept, I have blades. So when you're playing in career mode, you can just leave this on, and then if you don't have something on this menu, then you don't have it. You don't even need to worry about it, because this is overwhelming. Scrolling through this, being like, oh god, oh shit. And then there's also this add exotic skill button. These are for weird shit, exotic melee weapons, exotic ranged weapons. So you get one per the type of thing that you're trying to do. So they can be worth it if you want to make a really like a gimmick build, especially like the monofilament shit. But they are a dedicated investment. Okay, so that's really it for skills. It's not that the menu is complicated. There's just a shit ton of skills. You can also be like, oh, well, so like, let's do this. I'm gonna put one in computer. I don't know, and active skills. Boom. And so they're already sorted like this. But let's say I want to know what I'm good at, so I can sort by the rating, the total dice pool, maybe the smaller dice pool, attribute value. Attribute name, sorted by attribute, group, whatever skill group they're in, whatever skill group rating they're in, category. You can really tune this menu to be what works for you. But so that's it really for skills. It's just chewing through it. Next is limits. These are the limits for your dice pools, which, mousing over it, you can see it's kind of a really crazy formula for each of these. So luckily, Chummer does it for you. And what these are limits on the hits you can roll. Right now they look really crummy because I haven't actually created the character. But you should be able to get these up to 5, 6, or 7, which is going to be enough for the vast majority of tests in the game. And then what it'll do here, once you get things in these other tabs coming up, it'll list modifiers inherent to things here. So it won't calculate them here. But if you go to your limits when you're rolling something, because you're like, wait, I think I have something for that, and you see like you have a +3 to your social limit from the fancy suit you're wearing, it'll tell you +3 social limit when wearing fancy suit. If something isn't applied automatically, we can add it ourselves to your physical, mental, or social limit. You add what it is, when it happens and the bonus or negative associated with it, and it'll appear in this list. A lot of it happens automatically, but if we need to add something, we can. Next up, martial arts. Martial arts are mostly garbage. They're kind of terrible. You have to buy them with karma, and they give you basically like really interesting techniques, but they don't have a lot of impact. Most of them or all of them are in run and gun, and I just don't find them to be worth it. If you want to play a martial artist type character, you might want to take a look at them and see, but see for yourself. But I don't find, they're only 7 karma, but like, well, wait, I think they. Yeah, I don't really know how you add the techniques, but they cost karma and they give you some more options in combat. Next, after that, we have spells and spirits. Here you add new spells, as well as create spirits to summon, which is mostly like you can create a spirit and then link it to your sheet. You can select your tradition. If you are a mage, it'll tell you what spirits to use. But the main thing it'll do, so let's say I'm a shaman. I'm part of the oh yeah, here it is. I'm part of the shamanic tradition. It tells me what spirits I use for what, and then it tells me what I soak drain with. Which I think it's kind of weird because I'm an adept. Adepts don't do anything with these, but if you're a mage, it'll actually do that correctly. Next up, we have Adept Powers. If you're an adept, here's where they live. They work just like everything else. You can check it out. Takes you to where you need to be. And then they kind of get like a spreadsheet because they have a lot of interesting little expenditures here, because I have 6 power points because I have 6 magic, but some of these are 0.25 power points, so you can see where all those go, and if you have a way, you can get discounts. And this is where they also go to upgrade their powers over time. So that's pretty cool. I think you can also, they list the source here so you can always see what they do. Next, this is in common for mages and adepts as initiation. If you are a technomancer, this is replaced with Submersion. It's how you increase your maximum magic and gain access to meta magic. You cannot initiate during character generation. It's a huge step playing a mage or adept or a technomancer, and here's where you keep track of it. So you add the grade, you get a meta magic as a result of it, and there's some ways to discount it. It's kind of just to keep track of your new abilities. Next we have Cyberware and Bioware. Note that Cyberware and Bioware are 2 completely separate buttons. If you're on this and you're like, okay, where the fuck is the paint editor, dude? Well, it's there's that, but where's my adrenaline thingy? Well, it's not in Cyberware. It's in Bioware. So you can add these. You can sort them by the grade, whether it's normal, shitty, better than usual, extra shitty, anti-magical. You can sort it by location, head, does it go in an existing thing? So for adepts, augmentations are bad. For mages, augmentations are bad. For technomancers, augmentations are bad. For everyone else in the game, augmentations are very good. So you start with 6 essence. Every augmentation of any kind takes essence away from you. So this menu keeps track of that as well. So just to show you a little bit of how that works here, say need a arm, standard. Sure, left arm. Beep, beep, beep. So now I've spent one of my essence on that. So for a regular character, just don't let it hit 0. It doesn't really matter otherwise. It does actually affect your social limit. But for me, a mage, it's decreased my magic. So I don't want that at all. But as a demo, for if you have stuff, if you're a character that uses augmentations, here's where it lives, and they each have their own stats. It tells you how everything works. So you can actually see that Cyberarm has actually already improved my agility and my strength for my left arm. It's computed that for me. As well, any sort of add-ons to it will go in this menu as well. So I'm going to delete that for now. Everything goes back to normal. Woo! Next up, street gear. Everything that isn't wear, vehicles, or drones lives here. The first tab is just gear. It's all of your miscellaneous stuff. There's tons and tons and tons of categories to sort by. It's got a search, references work. It tells you a little bit about it, the rating, the availability. So there's too much here to go into. This isn't really meant to browse. So, I'm looking to buy ammunition. What kind of ammos do I have? There, you can check it out. The next one is clothing and armor. It's pretty self-explanatory. Any notable clothing you own and all of your armor lives here. You just choose what to equip depending on the situation. This is just like your total list, and then when you get something, it'll tell you your total armor rating over here. Next is weapons. All your weapons go here. There's a lot of complexity, so two weapons in Shadowrun, but you can see it has the basic generic additional sort of, when you go to add things, everything in Chummer kind of looks the same. But I'll show you how weapons actually work in the little character creation demo. Drugs. So it's kind of misnamed because most of the drugs are actually in street gear. This is for creating drugs with the chemistry rules, which is, yeah, you can definitely do that if you want. It's really complicated, and I don't know how worth it is. Last, we have lifestyle. Shadowrun is not a game about doing crime. It's a game about paying your rent. So this is where you do it. Your lifestyle can be a big part of the game, though. Adding a lifestyle, we can name it, pick the level, which is how much you pay. If you have roommates, if you're the primary tenant, how much you're splitting it with your roommates calculates the total cost. You got what city we're in, the district, which will load based off the city, or you can type whatever you want. And then the individual sort of area. Over on the left, you have cool things. So you can add stuff to this, to your lifestyle. All kinds of various little fun little greebles here that can improve or modify your lifestyle in some way. So let's name it test. It's low, and it's in a dangerous area, so it's cheaper. But I have I have something cool here. I've got it's extra secure somehow. Let's say I live in Seattle, live in Renton, the Lake Young area. Boom. So it has that. You can purchase additional months in advance. If you're like, okay, I want to be set for 3 months, you can add as many as you want based off of how much money you have. So that was the basic lifestyle bit. Advanced lifestyles are kind of cooler. So we'll probably do this. It gives you these points, and you kind of get to really dial it in a little further, and kind of make a really cool lifestyle for yourself, which can add a lot to your character. It can add cool items too. So if you're going down this advanced list and one of them catches your eye, like, ooh, it's a bat cave, it's in Run Faster, 224, Zenden Bat Cave, whichever, it gives you a +1 dice pool to a interest knowledge skill when at home. So if I'm like an intelligence guy and I have an intelligence knowledge skill or an academic skill, I can do better at it at home. Do I have an armory? Something cool like that, extra secure. Do I have an escape tunnel? Fuck yeah. Does it have a gym? Either I have a gym room, or maybe it's a big warehouse, or maybe you live in a nice apartment building with a gym amenity, stuff like that. So I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this because it's pretty cool, and you should want to make a cool lifestyle. It's got to be a lifestyle you can pay for reliably, or your ass is out on the street. So anyway, it's pretty cool. So we'll talk about lifestyles when we do character generation, because it kind of adds a lot to your character. Do you live in a piece of shit apartment? Is your Shadowrunner house poor? Those are all fun questions. Vehicles and drones. If someone is a rigger, here's where all of their drones and vehicles live. If you're not a rigger, you can still buy a vehicle. You can still get the skills to drive it. You're never going to be as good at it as a rigger, but you can get one if you want a way to get around without relying on public transportation or somebody else, or renting a grid guide car. You can purchase your very own vehicle, your very own little part of the new American Canadian dream, right here. They can be pretty expensive. And you can see you can separate them out. So, I don't want to get a combat drone mixed up for a car. So let's look at cars. Yeah, they can be pretty expensive, but who knows, maybe it's worth it. You want to be a wheelman, or especially if you're a rigger, having a sort of base of operations vehicle where you can launch your drones from is pretty cool. Second to last, we have character info. This is all background stuff. Well, most of it's background stuff. So I recommend you go ahead and fill this stuff out, because it might make you think about your character a little bit more. You can have a physical description, which this used to be just like plain text. Now it's a full text editor. That's pretty cool. You can talk about your backstory, what's your concept for the character, and then probably most usefully, notes. And then over on the right, you can select your handedness. So you can always, this is kind of like Death Watch, where you get a negative for shooting with the wrong hand. Well, except for in Death Watch, you're Space Marines, so you ignore it. But whatever. The only gameplay stuff on this screen is this button. Do not press this until you are finished. This is the done button. If you'll remember, we put a setting that's going to save it as a separate file and then save your creator file as its own file, so you can go back and fix it if need be. But if you press this and then you save, it goes, okay, done, and it'll run through validation, and it'll go through and it'll check a bunch of your stuff. And if something is really wrong, it'll kick you back, say, hey, whoa, you're breaking the rules. But it will let you do shit that you shouldn't, like take contradictory qualities and stuff like that. Finally, for gameplay stuff here, we have some stuff about reputation. Most of this gets done automatically. Street cred gets done automatically. Everything else is ticked up by the GM. And then, you can delete some of it with using other forms of reputation. But the only way to gain it in character creation is by specific qualities. Finally, we have relationships. First tab is where your contacts live. So when you add a contact, it's just this little condensed view. So let's say got Flep Shitto here. He lives in Seattle too. He's a bartender. So you can do a couple interesting things with this. You can mark them as a group. If it's a group of people, a particular organization, instead of any singular person, you can do that. It makes them more expensive, but it gives them a lot of sort of bonuses when you do use them. You can select if you have them as a contact via blackmail, which makes their stuff cheaper, but they might turn on you. And then you can select if they're family, which does something I don't remember. This is really only if you have the dependence quality. You can, and this is where you can give them a little life of their own. You can select their metatype, their gender, age, generally, what type of support they provide you, what they're useful for, what are they like, how do you pay them, do you have items for them, do you have, is it just cash, do you do favors for them? And then, what's a little thing they like, which, you might be able to kick into a deal for them to be like, hey, I got you that old record you were looking for. And they're like, oh, shit. But the two primary stats that have effect on gameplay is connection, which is how powerful they are, and then loyalty, which is how loyal they are to you. So there's nothing wrong with having a low connection, high loyalty guy. You shouldn't really be increasing connection that often beyond its initial rating, because that represents a character attribute completely separate from you. It's not your character. So the only way you can increase their connection is if you help them out to the degree that their connection is increased. But their loyalty to you is completely personal, and that can go up or down depending on actions. You get free points for contacts depending on your charisma. So if I go back to the common screen and I go ahead and crank my charisma real quick, see now at charisma 6 I've got 18 points for contacts. So you can really load up on them if you're like an elven face or something. But we're going to delete this example guy. And the other thing you can get pets or cohorts. Pets and cohorts are like followers. So you can add them, but like you can see, it doesn't really do anything. So what we can do is I can make a condensed critter sheet for them, such as right here, and then we can attach that. You get to view like a condensed version of it below. So if you play as a character who has a strong connection to nature, or somehow you get a follower type individual, This is where you add them and you can view their stats and they can help you out. I've never had anyone actually use this. It's pretty, you kind of have to like try to use it. You're not just going to get one out of nowhere. So that covers it for the basic screens and creation basics for Chummer. I'm going to go ahead and save this guy one more time. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and actually create a character. I'm going to recreate Cypher. And then we'll bring him into career mode, and I'll show you what that looks like. So kind of get you a start to finish view of what finishing a character in Shadowrun 5th edition looks like. But for now, that's all the basics for Chummer. Thanks for watching.